Chris Carino back with you for NJNets.com. You know, this season the Nets were looking to get King James coming to the Nets, but they were able to get a King and a James. The James was Damian James, who they drafted out of Texas and had a great summer league. The King is joining us right now. He is Billy King, the new GM of the Nets. And, Billy, welcome to the Nets. Congratulations on the job. I know it's been kind of a whirlwind. Explain sort of the process of how this came to be.
I think this was on July 6th. Rod called and said, interested in talking to you, but we need you to go down to Orlando and visit with Avery. That was at 9:30. By 1:30, I was on a flight. Met with Avery that night, and we met again for breakfast. Got back home. Rod said it went great. Now I'd like you to come to New York on Tuesday to meet with the owners. And he said there'll be another candidate. Little did I know it'd be my best friend, Danny Ferry. But and so we met on Tuesday, and by that evening, I was offered the job.
Oh, you were teammates at Danny Ferry at Duke, and you were a great defensive player at Duke and went on to be an assistant coach in this league and a president and GM down in Philadelphia. Tell me a little bit about the discussion with Avery as far as how you guys can work together. Because sometimes, you know, GMs want to hire their coach. We hear a lot about that, and we've talked about how Avery Johnson was a guy that was involved in finding a GM. Talk about your relationship and what you expect that relationship to be here with the Nets.
Well, I mean, what I told Avery, I said, you know, I will never say you work for me. I say we work together. We're partners in this, and that's how I've always believed it with the coach. And so that's where they started the conversation. And then in talking, we talked player personnel, we talked his style, my style, talked families, and it just clicked. And I told him, I said, Avery, we may not agree, and we'll argue and hammer it out, but when we walk out of the room, we're going to be in step and one together.
Your tenure down in Philadelphia, you had success with an Eastern Conference title in 2001. There were the low points, of course, things that were going on with Allen Iverson and the tumultuous relationship with the fans in Philadelphia. But when you take that 10-year period and you take the 2 years you're away from the game, how does that prepare you for this next step right now?
Well, it prepares you because you're able to look back and see where things that you thought you may have done wrong. But the biggest thing is it helped me to be patient, to understand that you can't do it quickly. You've got to allow things to develop and maybe let some things go away. You can't be afraid maybe lose something as an asset or something just because they're on your roster. You've got to look at the long-term effect of your decisions rather than the short-term effect.
I would imagine that patience has been the key word putting together this net team this year because, they swung for the fences with LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and now they've had to take a more patient approach. Do you continue that along, I guess, coming the rest of this summer, going to training camp?
Well, yeah, because our goal is to win a championship, and we know that, there are not a lot of players left out there free agents, whereas it's going to get us there this year. So as the goal is try to build so that in 2 or 3 years you're on the right track to get there.
What's the first order of business for you as far as the Nets are concerned?
Well, Avery and I will sit down, I'll sit down with Rod, and we're going to try to figure out what they've been thinking about. Obviously, I think we may need another power forward, so I'll pick their brains and see how their talks are going with agents, and look at the free agent market. We'll look at trade-wise, but mainly we'll sit back and sort of pick Avery's brain a lot and see, what he liked this summer from the guys. I saw the team play, what he didn't like, and then we'll gradually reach out and try to add the right piece at the right time.
I know you want to be patient, and we've seen the directive from ownership, but if there's a bold step to make, whether something comes to you, whether it be one of your star players and you were going to make a move, is that something that you would be willing to do in the first few months of your tenure?
I'd be willing to do it tomorrow, to be honest with you, because I think if any chance you have to upgrade your talent pool, you have to. And if a deal came along that I felt they would upgrade us, I will present it to ownership, and my recommendation would be to do it, regardless of the timetable, because I don't think you can ever sit back in this league and say, well, we can get that guy later. Even though I said you got to have patience, if you think that's the right talent and it will help and it's an upgrade, then you make that decision.
All right. Well, good luck here with the Nets, and we'll talk to you in the future. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
That is Billy King, the new GM of the Nets. I'm Chris Carino. Thanks for tuning in to NJNets.com.